Bueno, buenas tardes. Good evening to everyone. So welcome to this new webinar of our series Sport in Society, organized along with La Liga in India. With this series of webinars, we want to try to explore and understand, with the help of different experts, the meaning of sport in contemporary societies, in the Indian and Spanish or Western context. And of course, we conceive sport not only as a game or entertainment, but also as a social and cultural phenomenon of great importance in modern societies. So we began the series with the writer and journalist John Carlin, then continued with the Indian journalist Ayaz Memon. And today we have three professional sportsmen who are currently working or have worked in India and Bangladesh as coaches. So Carlos Cuadrat, Carlos Santamarina, and Javier Cabrera. So welcome Carlos, and Javier. So thank you so much for being here today. So on behalf of Instituto Cervantes. And as usual, José Antonio Cachaza, the managing director of La Liga in India, will conduct the session. I like to thank him as well on behalf of Instituto Cervantes for his support and collaboration. Gracias. Thank you, José Antonio. And well, now I think we can start. So José Antonio, I give you the floor. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Martí. Well, this series, from the beginning, what we try is to talk about football from the sidelines. As the title says, is football. Sports in society. In this case, we're going to talk about football. With John Carlin, we talk mainly about football. With Ayaz Memon, which is a legendary journalist in India, we talk about cricket and how football can find space in cricket land as India is. And today I have three good friends that can give us a different view of how football interacts with society in India. Let's not forget that India is it's a cricket country where football in most of the country is sort of alien, other than in the traditional football states such as Bengal, Northeast, Goa, and Kerala. Football is kind of a new thing, and it's kind of growing. So we have three different perspectives. First, we have Javier Cabrera, with whom I work 4 years really together. He was the first technical director of La Liga Football Schools project in India, and now is the national, the coach of the national team of Bangladesh. So he's joining us from Dhaka. Javier, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jose.
Javier has, it's probably, I'm sure, it's probably one of the persons that knows the most about grassroots football in India. If I had to bet my money, I say it's probably the foreigner who better knows grassroots football in India. When we were working together, I have now and then many people like academy owners or small team owners contacting me or calling me, and I will asking us, who is this guy from an obscure city in I don't know what state, and he had some reference about the guy. So that's the level of knowledge and dedication that he has. So he knows really well the absolute basis of football in India, as we say. Then we have Carlos Santamaria. He is an Atlético de Madrid coach. He is based out of Anantapur, and he can give us a double perspective. Is Carlos, what I'll be interested you in talking about, First, he heads one of the most prestigious football academies in India, the Tata Football Academy. And also, he was telling me they are doing working with many boys and girls in rural India around Jamshedpur. Carlos, thank you and welcome.
Most welcome, my friend. It's a big pleasure for me to be here with you.
And last but not least, we go into the elite of the football in India. So we have here Carles Cuadrat with us, also a good friend with a long experience in football in India, and also as a head coach and also as a second coach, an ISL winner. And I don't know if you got also the I-League title. If not, you competed hardly. So he can give us a perspective of how this new elite of football is interacting with Indian society. Carlos, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. My pleasure to be here.
So I'll start first on the foundation. No, Javi, this is for you. You have like a huge experience dealing with schools, with parents, with boys in many places. No, through La Liga football schools, we were operating in I think 7 states. Also, you have before joining us a large experience. I mean, you told me a lot of a great experience you had in Assam, and also, well, you will also have some connection with the elite. All of you have some connection with the elite of Indian football when you train in Goa with our good friend Oscar Buzón. So I just want you to talk not as much as what happens on the pitch, no, but what do you feel is the relationship that India is having with football? Now, what's the father's approach? What's the boy's approach? Is that now you come, before moving to Bangladesh, you were working in the academy of one of the top academies in northern Spain, which is Alaves of La Liga club. So what are the difference of a really high-tech academy as it is the Alaves, and what's the approach, thinking not in the technical differences, no, what's the approach and the relationship with the parents, with the boys? Can you tell us a little bit how is India
I think the best
in this football?
To describe what I felt since I arrived to India. I arrived in India in 2012 when, well, if you say now that football is an alien in the country in 2012, all these academies and youth development programs that we can see now in India, there were very few academies that used to work on this. So I remember that I took charge of a small private academy in Bangalore, and at the beginning it was very difficult to make parents understand that their kids could also have proper or have fun or get involved in a different sport than cricket, like football. So for us at the beginning, it was much more about how to make parents and kids understand, well, to get involved, to involve players and make them understand that the football from a perspective of enjoying, having fun, creating dynamic training sessions, more in that sense, no? And then we clash with that perspective that you well know from parents, mainly in India, that is more educational approach to all these activities, let's say sports activities. No, so what I have seen or I have experienced a lot in India is that many times parents take the football activities or sport activities more as teaching classes, no, and they always want to find that those results or that development of improvement more related to the educational schooling, no? So that to me was the first perspective that I had. Is true that football and youth development has changed a lot in 10 years in India, actually, but that could be probably the main difference that I find between parents in India and parents in Spain, probably.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically, we have discussed this among ourselves. We all need to try to convince parents that to practice football or cricket or any other sports is a fundamental tool for the personal development of the kids, and not necessarily you need to think in a high competition approach, right?
Exactly.
So going to high, Carlos, you are, as I said before, you are leading the Tata Football Academy. It's probably the oldest, and if not the oldest, is one of the most, the best football academies in India, together with Reliance Young Champs, Reliance Foundation Young Champs project, and also probably the work that GSW is doing around the Bengaluru FC team that Carlos knows really well. So you come here, and when you talk about Tata Football Academy, it's a next step of a step above of what Javi was saying. So the objective is no longer to, I mean, of course, it's always an important part to develop persons, no, but it also is fundamental to, yeah, we're having like a weird noise. So it's fundamental to develop players. So what's also your take? No, you have basically you are leading a residential project, but what's the approach of the parents when and also the players? No, when they reach this level that in India is clearly the elite of grassroots football.
Yeah, my experience here, I reached here in 2019, and I completely agree with Javi, because the first step we did here in Jamshedpur was to create teams from the age of 8 years old. And I wanted the coaches and the team start working with the boys in early age, 8 years old, 9. We made one under 18, under 10 team, under 12 team. And the most difficult for me, it was that the parents understand that these boys under 12 and 14 years old, they were in a professional club. They were working in high performance, and they were not earning money. So it was very difficult. It is very difficult that the parents understand this, that we are preparing the boys, and the boys have a good chance for playing in Tata Football Academy, and after that they have a good chance for working or playing in Jamshedpur FC. The parents don't understand this because they don't have the culture of sports. I think it's they have the culture of sports for fun, or they have the culture of sports for professional sports. But the high performance, the long way these boys have to walk during their careers, they don't understand. And suddenly, one month, the parents call me and tell me, okay, this month under 14 team, the boys will not come to practice because they have exams. I don't know, my God, we cannot stop the practice during 1 month because boys with who are 13 years old have exams. When they go to the university, they have to start eating also. So this was very, very difficult for me. In the academy is more easy because we have boys living here, and we choose the boys from all over India, and we have professional boys. They are not earning money, but they are living with us. They are we are training in the mornings. They are going to school with us. They are eating with us. So in the academy is easy to work with them because they are watching that the next step is the professional football. And we are working before COVID, not now because COVID stops everything, but before COVID, the boys were working with the first team, with the ISL team, with Antonio Iriondo. They were working with Cesar Ferrando. So the most difficult part for me, as I told you, is work with the boys who are not in the academy, but they belong to Jamshedpur FC club, and they are working in high performance also, but they are not any money.
Mm-hmm. So it's quite interesting that when to listen that Javi tells, and we know that parents of of kids that they are going to a football school in Delhi or in Bangalore. I mean, I heard stories. They ask the coaches basically if that school will guarantee them that their son will be the next Messi. And on your side, you have parents that they are already in a clear high performance line, not being aware of that they are really in a high performance structure already, right? So interesting. Carlos, let's go to the elite of Indian football. No, it's also you. I have to say it and say it in your presentation. You come from the FC Barcelona structure. Also, I remember when you told me your stories as a player. I think was with the great Van Gaal as a coach. So you come from one of the strongest football cultures in the world, as is FC Barcelona, and also from a mind which is quite structured, is the Catalan mind. So what was your shock when you first came to India to manage a top team? No, as what was culturally was shocking? It was a problem. Tell us what's your experience on that.
Yeah, for me, it will be always interesting to work in a country like India, because the project that Bengaluru offers us at that moment in 2016, it was a very interesting project. We come from different experience, starting with Frank Rijkaard in Galatasaray, and also the Saudi Arabia national team. So we already have a background of working in different kind of footballs. And after that, another step in the El Salvador national team, it comes the opportunity for me and for Albert Roca at that moment to be part of a team who was fighting to make something historical in Indian football, trying to reach the final of the FC Cup. It's one big stage for Indian football, of course. Never a team was reaching that kind of stage in the past. And we were lucky enough, or we were working good enough to reach that momentum. No? We played the final of the FC Cup 2016 in Doha, and we lost that final against Air Force team that now they are competing in Champions League. But what I mean is that we were taking the decision knowing that there were things happening in India, and that we could support at that moment the things that were happening in Indian football. It's interesting because in the contract we knew at that moment that we were working in the I-League, but the next season we will be part of the Indian Super League. So also it was very good for us to really live in our own skin the difference between the two leagues. No? The historical things created in the 90s that was working on the I-League, with a lot of travels, with a lot of budget problems, with a lot of facilities problems, with the stadiums, with travels really complicating the country. And that new competition that it was just starting, the Indian Super League, that it supposed that was offering something extra to the Indian supporters. What I have to say is that after 5 years working in India, I really have seen that. I really have seen that Indian Super League have allowed the improvement of the football in India, having catching supporters, having playing games in front of 60,000 people, like the semifinals that we played in Calcutta in 2020. And also have to say that I really have seen a very interesting progression in the skills of the football talents, the local football talents. And I think that here we have with Carlos a good example in Jamshedpur, that historical academy with the Indian Super League. They have been really using players from the academy in the first team, and they have reached for the first time the shield of the competition. Jamshedpur have been the champion of the regular league. Congratulations, Carlos, for the work behind. And I think that it's very clear that when you put talent, when you put good coaches, and when you put money in the pack, you get results. And it's what is happening in India. I'm really satisfied of what I am seeing, that it's happening all around the Indian Super League clubs. And I think that the advantage that Indian Super League offers also to the Indian football is that part of the percentage of the clubs have to be invested in the roads, no, in the youth academies. So it's under contract that the clubs have to put a part of the money in the develop of the new talents, and I think it's working.
Yeah, you made two great points. No, 2 weeks ago I went to Goa to the ISL final. No, I thought we thought that as La Liga we should be there just a small token of support, because it was the first time they were going to play a match with fans in 2 years. And there are two interesting takes on that match. First, there was like 10,000 Kerala fans traveling by bus, I don't know, 10, 12 hours from Kerala to follow their team to the final. And second, the champions, Hyderabad, basically, I don't know exactly the number, but quite a number of players of their starting team, they come for the academy that was before Pune City, no? So those steps, basically, it highlights what you are saying, no? How India elite football is taking the right direction, betting on local talent. And I always say that I'm pretty sure, I don't know when, but we'll see one Indian player starting at La Liga or Premier League or Italy. It's just a matter of time. So a question for the three of you. No, I remember reading Guus Hiddink, the Dutch coach that basically upgrade the South Korean national team 25 years ago, that when he started working with that team, he had a problem. It was a cultural problem, no? That basically the young players had so much respect for the veteran players that they would only pass the ball to them. So they were not, they had no freedom on it was a strong hierarchy in the team that basically kill all kind of, imagination in the game. No, when football is not that. Now, if we look 1 second to our football, here we have the cases of Vinicius, Pedri, or Ansu Fati, not being even 20, that they do not respect, in the good sense of the word, no ranks. No, is they want to be the best from the very beginning. Do you find any kind of cultural challenge like this in the Indian player, or they are fully they can be fully homologated to the mentality of our players in terms of being competitive, in terms of wanting, as we say in Spanish, to win the world themselves? You find any kind of cultural clash you need to work with? So who wants to take it? Javi?
I had a similar experience as you were saying. When I had the chance to work in I-League with the Sporting Club de Goa, we had a lot of youth players, a lot of young players in the Sporting Club de Goa. Actually, some of them are like Brandon Fernandez, which is in the national team now. Rolling Borges, who was Mumbai City. Now, I'm not sure he's in Mumbai City now. So it's a club that used to work a lot with youth. And then we had always four strong, let's say, foreigners. And I remember with Oscar, along with Oscar Bruthen, sometimes we had this kind of situations that there was too much respect, let's say, for foreigners, no? Sometimes. And I think that's something, I don't know, maybe Carlos knows better, and Carlos, that I think that used to happen when, in those years, that was 2013, 2014. But I think that after all the development that had been in professional football and after all the good coaching, all the good coaches that these players have had in the ISL, I think these players actually now feel more comfortable, the local players more comfortable and more confident when they train with other foreigners or with Spanish coaches or other foreign coaches. That's my idea.
Yeah,
Carlos, or Carlos, yeah, go.
I don't mind. You choose. You're the boss.
No, you go. You started.
Okay. No, I agree with you, with Javi. The Indian players have a lot of respect to the coaches, have to lot of respect to the all players, to the foreign players, and it's because of that I insist too much to the Indian coaches that they have to allow the young boys to be brave on the ground. Don't shout them if they fail. And I insist too much. The coaches I have here in the Tata Football Academy and Yachepur FC Youth, that they have to tell the boys that they have to be brave on the ground. They have to lose the respect to the football. And also, I think the people who are, the coaches who are working here and the clubs like Atletico Madrid who are working here, we are also learning about the kind of foreign players we can hire and the kind of coaches we can hire here for working in India. Because if we hire one player who is shouting all the time to the Indian boys, to the youth boys, in Spain, most probably the boys say, okay, this old guy is what's telling to me. But in India, if one foreign player shout one youth player, the Indian player goes down for sure. So I think it's one learning, and I think step by step we are changing this. It's necessary. It's totally necessary.
Carlos, your take on this?
Yeah,
What you in Bangalore?
I'm agree with you, with all of you. What I see also is that the world is changing very fast, and it has been a difference. When I arrived in 2016, I saw a lot of respect. For example, I have Sunil Shetty, the big name in Indian football, and I saw the rest of the young talents showing a lot of respect, and it's true that maybe they were more ready to pass the ball to Sunil, like also happens in Barcelona in the times of Messi, when everybody was paying attention to Messi to try to interact with him. What I mean is that you have a big name and also big personality, and it's normal that kind of things happening. But what I see in the last years is that because of the product, because of Indian football TV situations with Indian Super League, all the production, all the interviews, all the things happening around, I saw the young talents feeling that they are themselves like a European star or like a American player. I feel that they realize themselves they are becoming big players. What I mean is that it also has been supporting them to take decisions on the grass. And I see in my team players like Suresh, or now this season Roshan, one player that has been making an impact in Bengaluru this season, but he was playing the first games 2 seasons ago under my tutelage. And I saw how they have been showing themselves in a proper way, in a really good way, with personality, with ambition. So I think that the young mentality is changing fast because we belong to a global world. That there is a lot of image from Champions League, from World Cups, and the players feel that okay, we can reach that places where we are an important part of the game. So they keep the respect to the hierarchic situations. Of course, as a coach, I feel very, very happy to work in India because you really can work and in a way that everybody is going to respect what you are doing. The players are really helping you a lot. But at the same time, you can see that they are respecting themselves and they are becoming better players, taking good decisions and knowing the role that they are doing in the society.
How competitive is the Indian player? Anyone who wants to take it? Javier, estás en silencio.
In the same way, I think that we are talking now. I think it's becoming more and more competitive, as Carlos is saying. They are becoming more confident. They are becoming more comfortable on the pitch. They are becoming, if you look at the last editions, I think that the Indian player is becoming more decisive, and not only the foreigner players are the ones who are deciding titles. And I think it's a process. At the end, it's a process. When again in 2012, 2013, all teams in the I-League totally rely on the foreigners, absolutely. And now I think the Indian players have a lot to say, in the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think one issue I have here in working with this age group is that they have few competitive matches, very few competitive matches. Now ISL is making one step more. We are currently preparing one tournament who will start in Goa on 15th April with all the ISL youth teams. And I know that ISL is telling that the teams have to play with the youth this tournament. This season, I think only 8 of the 11 teams will play the tournament, but we are preparing. And this kind of tournaments, this kind of good matches, I think will help the Indian players to become more competitive and more decisive for the teams when they reach to the ISL teams.
Important thing, we are talking about as you were talking about the player development. We all agree that it's little by little getting there. But also, I think an important. I think we agree. I mean, Carlos just said it's a lack of grassroots competitions. That's probably the biggest problem that Indian football has. Though it's improving little by little. So there are new competitions, there are new schools, there are new academy, and all of that is good. They are good steps in the right direction. We all know. But I want to talk to you about the coaching quality. Javi, I remember that one of your biggest fights when we were working together was to launch a train-the-training program that we finalized doing a 2-day workshop in Delhi that we flew 40 coaches from all over India, all of La Liga Football School coaches, and we are going to repeat now in the month of May. So what's your take of the three of you? I'll let you for the end, Javi. So Carlos, I mean, you are working on Delhi, so when Bengaluru hires you, basically your job is to make a team champion, not so to develop. But I'm pretty sure that part of your job is to interact with the Bengaluru Academy, to interact with the coaches, and sort of, even if not directly, indirectly, to help the local coaches' development. So, what's your experience in this way? Is the local coaching quality improving as well?
Yeah, of course, it's improving because there is investment in that. There is courses happening, and there is young talents also as a coaches trying to improve themselves to become coaches. What I see is that in the elite, in the high level, a coach is somebody who has to take really difficult decisions sometimes. And as far as I saw, I see yet that the teams that go for a local coach, they are more in a comfortable situation that don't break anything. I mean, it's difficult to start a new project if there is no somebody behind really with very clear ideas and showing his power, and you can see. I know very well the assistant coach in Bengaluru at my moment. That it was Musa, and when he have to take the team when we finish the contract with Bengaluru, you saw that not a lot of big decisions were taken. And it was happening also with the results. There was not arriving a lot of different results. And we have Goa this season also as an example, that they released the foreigner coach and local coaches were working there, but not getting the results. I think that there is, still in India happening that kind of situation, that the players are still more ready for a big impact of a foreigner coach. and that's why we don't have really top results with Indian coaches at that moment. But for sure, it's going to happen, because it's normal situation. It was happening also in Spain in the old times, that there was a lot of foreigner coaches, and now most of the coaches are local, are Spaniards, and we are getting results. It's a question of develop. We need a lot of numbers. We need a lot of people ready for that, and then the best will reach the top positions. It's also happening, as Javier and Carlos said, about the youth teams. I have been watching a lot of games of our B team in Bangalore, and too much games were finishing 6-0, 5-1, 8-0, remember? Yeah, you know, the competition is not developing you. When you get that kind of results, it's not a lot that you can improve. So it's the same with the number of players in the country. You have to have more players to make competitions more equal and to really reach competitive games to develop. So it's the same with coaches. You need to improve the numbers, and when you get that kind of challenge, then you will get the right coaches to train in the top teams. No question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
Carlos, Javier, you want to add?
Yeah. My situation is different because I am working with youth. I totally agree with Carles. But working with youth, basically, I am working here and teaching the coaches how we are working in one club like Atlético de Madrid, following one methodology system. And I had a lot of fights because when I reach here, every coach feels that the team was his team. They always speak about my team is my. No, I told them, no, this is not your team. This is one team of Jamshedpur FC, and now we are working with one methodology. So you have to follow the rules. Basically, was my bigger fights was this because they didn't understand this, and step by step I am getting this, and we are here in Jamshedpur, we are changing this mindset, and the coaches are improving too much. But it's true that one issue I have seen here is that they don't have the culture of football, and they cannot react. They cannot react during one match. They cannot react during one training session when something is going wrong. They are not able yet for changing different things. Maybe you can change the number of players involved in the skill, and the skill is totally different, and the skill is going right. They need to improve in this kind of situation in the matches and in the training session. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So basically, this is my job here, teaching them how they have to react and how they have to work when they are working in youth in one academy like this.
I think that at the end, Carlos, you are saying what I was meaning before, right? That the role of the coach is to take really important decisions, and sometimes they don't go for that. Right? They are not used in that kind of really difficult decisions to take.
Let's not forget that ISL is just 8 years old. So at the end, I think in any you learn to take decisions out of experience or being subject to pressure. I mean, Carlos, if we take for example your case, forget even before being a coach, when you were playing in the academy of Barca, in the under 18 or in the B team, you were exposed every single weekend. Every single weekend you were exposed. So you basically either you cope with that pressure and you face it, or you simply wouldn't be good enough for reaching whatever you reach after. No, and that is after you got there, after years and years of experience of the people working with you. No, so India, I think, is there. We have a question. I think it's quite interesting from one of our guests. It says, do you think that affordable sports tourism. Well, affordable, I won't say. To football culture-rich countries and clubs can bring a change in mindset of parents, and India players can build a better football ecosystem. Anyone wants to answer this? Javi, that you were I basically cut you. The
Can you say again? Repeat the.
Yes, I mean, to send that parents to give parents more exposition to football culture in other countries like in Europe could bring a change in the mindset of parents and Indian players, and all of this will help to build a better ecosystem for Indian football. I mean, basically exposition to other football cultures.
Exposure of the Indian
Of the
teams.
parents and players.
Parents and players in international. I think.
Yes, international exposure to other football cultures.
Okay, so I think it happened a little bit something similar with Reliance Academy, no? Reliance Academy got some exposure in Spain. At the end, I think it's also part of the process, no? First, starting a big project like can be Tata Academy or Reliance or BFC Academy, starting from the beginning to create a structure in youth development, investing in that, investing in good football coaches, and then you will reach a point like it happened with Reliance, where is the moment to expose those players or those teams internationally playing or competing against other countries. I think definitely that can help. That definitely can help for development of the talent, of the Indian talent. Yeah, for sure.
Carlos or Carlas?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Javi. I believe that I always, here in India, people always asked me about the Indian players, about when they can play the World Cup, questions like this. And I always say the same, that I think India have everything for playing the World Cup, but because they have a lot of children, they have good facilities, they have passion. You in states like Jharkhand or Goa, you can see a lot of children playing on the grass, on the parks. So I think they need to invest in this. And for example, we have in Spain 10 boys working with us in the last 3 years in this program we have with Jamshedpur FC. And I have seen these boys after 2 years working in Madrid, and they are playing so good. They are training with one of our best teams in Madrid, Atlético Madrid, with our under 16 teams, with our under 14 teams. So I think if I am totally sure that these players, when they come back to India, they will play in professional level, because they are understanding football. The technical skills are so good, tactical skills are so good, because they were training in a very good level during the last 3 years. So I need this kind of exposures, of course, will help the Indian football or Indian sports, because the best thing in India is that there are a lot of people here.
Yes, as I told you before, the B team of Bengaluru was playing a lot of games that they were winning easily, and it's not the way to improve as a football player. I mean, you need a big challenge, and the pressure is one of the big things to really put you on a test, and that can give you really the experience to learn. Any match against a good team, it's going to give you the experience to improve as a player. And I think that in India, a good example was the under 17 team that was playing the under 17 World Cup. They were traveling around. They were having a lot of good experience against top teams in Europe and in different countries, also in Asia. And at the end, they got players that now they are becoming good players in Indian Super League just 4 years later. What I mean is that for sure, it's not enough with the kind of competitions that are happening in the youth football Indian, because at the end, the number of games is very short, and the difficulty of the games is not difficult enough.
If you allow me to add something from a management perspective, I mean, to change the parents' mentality, as our guest was asking, it takes a lot, and it's more like a national approach. You know, in Spain, I remember when we changed many approaches of our sport, like in 1980s, when the government, central government, launched the program Sports for Everything. That was basically opening new sports infrastructures and giving sports practicing opportunities for everybody. I think India is taking an approach towards that through the Hello India program, which details I don't understand, and this is basic. I know if you invest in sports, just in giving facilities and giving opportunities to boys and parents to train, that changes mentality, no? And also, if you look at football concretely, I mean, I think this position is double. I mean, as you were saying, your Indian teams are going to play in Spain, Indian young players are going to Spain, but also you are connecting, I think, India football with really good football cultures. No, of course, I had to defend the Spanish football culture, which has a strong presence in India. But if we look to other cultures coming to here, we have, for example, Kerala Blasters having a relationship with Red Star from Belgrade. I mean, and the Serbs are incredibly good developing players. Not to say that the exposition of the national team to the Croatian football through the national coach Igor Stimac. And again, Croatia is a 5 million countries, 5 million people country that made a squad that play a World Cup final. No, so they are an incredibly competitive cultures as well. No, so I think that exposition, it's already there. But I think we all, the four of us agree, it takes time to develop a player. It takes a lot of time, and to consolidate a team, it takes a lot of time. I hope you agree, no?
Let me explain my personal experience about that, because I think it's a very clear example, and it shows how Spain have been improving football, but how long it takes, how many decades it takes. I was selected to play in the Spanish national team under 16 in the 80s. And at that moment, Spain was getting nothing as a national team in the World Cups, in the Euro Cups, no results. Normally, we were out in the group stage or in the quarterfinals. It was not even reaching semifinals, never. And in the 80s, the plans, as you said, it was the moment to invest, and it was the moment to make good plans with most of the academies and also the national federation. At that moment, we start to win some little trophies with under 16, under 18, under 19. Then we were third position in the Europe Cup 1985. So it was our kind of positions, you know, semifinals, finals in the 80s. Suddenly, the generation of Casillas and Xavi, they got the under 20 World Cup in 2002, I think that it was, or 2000. And 10 years later is when they become World Cup champions, and they won Euro Cups in 2008, 2012. What I mean is that the plans that start in Spain in the 80s, they get the World Cup in 2010. So we are talking about 30 years, more than 30 years of work, constant projects, money to develop the clubs and the systems. So yeah, India, I think, is in the right road. I think that a lot of good things are happening in the last years, but it has to keep going for the next decades. Otherwise, it will be like an oasis, you know, like a plan for a short time, but nothing else happening.
Javi, Carlos?
Yeah, I am totally agree with Carlos. I think they don't have to give up, never. They are in the right way. And I always say that when they asked me about the World Cup, I always say that they need time. They need time. They need to develop the players. They need to develop the coaches also. I always say that I think they are in the right way, but they need more, because India is too big. And I think I always say that if I wanted to be a cricket coach, of course, I wanted to learn with Indian coaches. So I always say that if they want to be good in football, where is the best football now? Currently, is in Europe, is in South America. So they should learn with European coaches, with South American coaches, and start with the youth. Start with the youth, with good leagues, with strong leagues, as Carlos said. We need good matches here with international exposure, these kind of things. But they need time. They have everything. But they, in my opinion, they have to be patient and they have to continue with this route.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's about time at the end, is what both Carlos and Carlos are saying. And many times people are not patient enough, probably, no? Sometimes you invest in time and you wait and the results don't come yet. And then the people who is putting the money or the people then get a little bit nervous, and that is how to find that balance to keep believing in what you are doing. I think the process and what I have seen in my experience in India, there is a change. There is a change. It can be a bigger change, of course, as Carlos is saying, but I think they need to keep believing in what they are doing, and yeah, I think in not much time they will get some results.
One last point I want to touch with you. I mean, the biggest Indian football stars in the last maybe 20 years were Baichung Bhutia and right now Sunil Chhetri. But Sunil is probably nearing retirement. How do you see the replacement? I mean, we all. I know as coaches, you'll tell me that football is about team. It's about teamwork and developing a strong team. And I think you mentioned Messi. Messi is the best example. No, he had a great team with Barca. He won everything with Barca, but with Argentina, he struggled much more because probably the team was not that good for his play. So I don't want to ask you that much about teams because you talk about that, but about stars. How do you see? I won't put you in the compromise of giving me names, but do you think that we can expect to have the next Sunil Chhetri soon of this new generation of players that, as you said, are coming from the ISL academies?
For me, players like Sunil are accidents in football. What I mean is that for me, it's quite similar to, I don't know, for example, Lewandowski with Poland national team, or special players that make a special impact, but are not the products, are not the players that you're creating in a normal academy and in a normal football development. What I mean is that to stay 15 years as Sunil, performing at that level, no, with that consistency, it's something that happens not so frequently, and is not the target that Indian national team has to look for. You have to look to create good players in a way like things are happening now. We can see a lot of youth academies creating good players for the Indian Super League. We have seen that in Jamshedpur, in Hyderabad. Bengaluru is also bringing new players. Goa, Chennai. Most of the teams are bringing talent. But if you see the numbers until now, the numbers of the top strikers from India are like Mambir or Listan Colasso are players still developing themselves as a players, and we cannot expect that they become the new Sunil. If they become, we are all of us going to be happy. But it's not the target. The target is to develop a lot of good players that can make the good things for the national team. And if some of these players is an accident, like Sunil have been doing for the country, then it will be wonderful for all of us.
Yeah, I totally agree again with Carles. I think it's quite difficult to one player like Sunil came every 5 years. It's not possible. So it's as he said, it's one accident, and we have to. I mean, I am working with the youth. The ISL academies have to work into create good players, and let's see if it's possible or not in few years. See players like with this progression or this career like Sunil. But I think that Carles spoke about the World Cup under 17. I think there are a lot of players who played in this team who now are playing in the ISL, and they have a very good level because, and I think one of the main reasons is that this experience for them was so good, and this experience helps them to improve too much more than the other players in India. So because they played very good matches, they played very good competitive matches against good national teams. And this experience was so good for them, and for sure, in this generation of players, we will see good players because these players are under formation yet. They need time, but we will see good players in this squad.
I agree with Carlos, no, in the sense that now, if we were talking about Baichumbutia or Sunil, that are players that have been, well, probably the biggest players in India in the last 30 years, and they were not getting that great youth development programs, and they have been absolutely crucial in their years. So probably those players who are talented that are under proper youth development programs and training methodologies would make sense. Well, would make sense, but also, as Carles is saying, some players are especially talented also. So who knows? I think that it could work.
I mean, clearly you are all coaches, because I was talking to Igor Stimac 2 weeks ago about this, and he gave me exactly the same answer. Football is a team sport, but journalists and we who care about the marketing, we love to have stars. No, is what makes football easier to sell. But yeah, I mean, in Spain, I think we have a good example. Our national team that won the world champion, there was not a single star shining much more above the others. No, neither. That was a team with Xavi, Iniesta, Casillas, the other Xavi. So it was quite a balanced team. Well, thank you. I don't know if someone else have another question. If not, I think we can fold it here. I don't know, Martí.
Yes.
As a Barca fan, I don't know. You want to answer ask anything or?
Oh no. We have a question. Aditya Kare. So she asks. She can ask Aditya. You can ask.
Yeah.
You can switch on the microphone and the camera, and you can ask the question. So please.
Hello everyone. My question was, how can such difficulties or related to the local coaches in India can be solved, or how the interaction of the Indian coaches with foreign coaches?
Aditya? Hi Aditya, we can hear you. Well,
just Aditya, turn off the microphone and try to ask your question, please.
He wrote in the chat the question.
Huh?
He wrote in the.
Oh, yeah.
I can read it.
Yeah.
How can such difficulties or problems related to the local coaches be solved, or how is the interaction of local coaches with foreign coaches or even foreign teams be increased that will help them develop?
Lo tenéis en el chat si queréis leerlo.
I think, in my opinion, I think there are here 3 different points of view. one is Carles Cuadrat, other point of view is my, and maybe Javier and mine is the same point of view. When my work here, I am every day, every hour interacting with the local coaches, because most of my time I am teaching them, I am working with them. I allow them work. They share with me the training sessions, and we discuss about what they can do, because I told my most of my work is teaching them. So my interaction with the local coaches is for helping them to improve, definitely. Other thing different is in the ISL or I-League, that most probably what Carlos can say better than me, but they don't have time. They don't have time for teaching coaches. But I don't know if Carlos agree with me or not.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. In the top teams, you know that you have to go for the results, and there is no time for another kind of thing. Of course, that we have Indian assistants, and I think that the interaction is very good, and they are learning a lot from us. I was putting all my focus in the first team, of course, but I saw in the B team that, for example, set pieces, they were doing a lot of set pieces that we were doing in the first team, so the coach was clever enough to see the ones that can work him, and they were using that in the B team. So I mean, the interaction always is going to be there. But what I think that it's very important is which is the road. What do you want to do with Indian football? And for example, I come now from the Cyprus football. I have been working in Aris Limassol. And it was very interesting for me to watch the reality of the Cyprus football. They are not interested in promote local coaches or local players. You can have the first 11 players, all of them out of the country. There is no penalty, only a little economical penalty. The clubs pay for that, and nothing is happening. And also with the coaches, what I mean is that they have a show. The Champions League is quite a good show in Europe. They get 4 teams qualified for the European competitions, and they are happy with that. They want to keep going ahead with that kind of clubs in the European competitions, but they don't put the focus in the local players or the local coaches. So it's also respectful. I mean, there is no problem with that. Football is a show. It's like to go to the movies or to go to the theater. What I mean is that I think that Indian football has been realizing that India is a huge nation. It's a very important nation in the world. It's also a very important economical power in the world, and they are very good in some sports. But in one of the most famous sport in the world, football, results are not there. And there is that intention to create something. And I think that what is happening with the federation, with the Indian Super League, and with the youth academies, I think that it's good decisions to create that kind of good football area in the country. So all my support. I think that they are in the right direction, and we as a professionals would love to help them as much as we can.
Yeah, let's not forget also that India is a really proud country, and I think here the Indian fans will never accept an approach as the Cyprus one of having a team of only foreigners. I think there's no other way, because I think it's the right way also, than developing the local talent and making. And I think you are all helping from your different points to make India a football power. As it will take time, but I think I personally think India is in the right way for that.
Jose Antonio, may I ask a last question? Yes, I would like to ask. Is there anything you have learned that you could teach to Spanish? I mean, you have learned here in India, in Indian football, Indian culture, that you could teach to the Spanish people and players. any value, any kind of cultural value. Well, as everyone knows, India has a very is a very huge civilization with well. So, is there anything you have learned during these years that you can teach to young people?
To me, one thing that I could just highlight from coaching Indian players is, at least in my experience, is that they are always very eager to learn and very eager to listen, and always very motivated in improving. That's something that in my own experience, I always have found in the different academies and football teams that I have coached in India. That's something that I have actually learned from them.
Yeah, I think one more thing is we spoke about is about the respect that I feel here in working in India. I never felt in while I was working in Spain. The respect the players, the respect of the parents. We should learn about them, about this value, I think.
Well, okay, so yeah, so thank you to the three of you. Thank you, José Antonio. I just want to announce that we have a last event of this series, which will be the screening of a movie, which is Maradona by Kusturica. So a movie, a documentary about Maradona, who everyone knows, and well, made by the Emir Kusturica, who is as well a very controversial movie maker. So we will do this in our auditorium on the 27th April at 6:30 p.m. You're all invited. So thank you, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.